It's a great day on the pod. We're catching up with Jon Dockery. He's an assistant cameraman I worked with in the old Hell's Kitchen days. We talk about those days, the crews, and the 2-day episodes and 3.5 months of work that gradually went away. We also get into what Doc is up to these days, how he is staying alive, upbeat, and hoping, but not waiting, for the phone to ring. This is B. Smith's Second Sticks, and we have speed. Jon Doc, welcome to the pod, man.
B. Smitty, how you been, man?
I'm good. I'm so happy to see you. I don't ever get to see so many people, and it's just doing the pod has given me an opportunity to catch up with people I haven't seen in months or, sadly, even years.
See, and the thing I love about you doing this pod is just letting people know that we're not alone. Like, there's a lot of us who are in the same boat right now. And I think some of us don't really realize that. Some of us think it might be us personally, but it's really not. Like, the jobscape right now is barren. It's very scary.
I agree with you. It's not a personal thing. I mean, I used to feel like back in the day when I didn't get calls, I would kind of get a little butthurt about the whole thing. They're like, oh, why are they calling so and so? I'm better than them or whatever. But I just think now it's just simply there is no one calling because there aren't any shows going on, or there's a few of them, but nothing like it used to be, man.
And I mean, the fact that they shot American Gladiators in Paris was kind of mind blowing to me. I'm just like, wait, the title of the show is American Gladiators, and y'all didn't shoot in America. But yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, there's a little irony there for sure. Too many shows have gone away at this point, and it seems like once they leave the country, especially, they're definitely not coming back to not just Los Angeles, but maybe not even to America. But yeah, we'll probably get into that a little bit. But I just wanted to check on your mentals. How are things going with you?
I have my good days. I have my bad days. I'm glad the good days outweigh the bad ones. I'm also very thankful I have a very good support system because I think without that, I'd be totally lost right now. And yeah, she's my rock. She reminds me. She's like, this happened to a lot of people. It wasn't your fault that the industry kind of bottomed out. It was nothing you did to make this happen. Like your job just kind of went away, and there was
That's
nothing that we can
exactly
do.
it. You're right. You're right. You look like you also have an army of figurines supporting you behind you there.
This is what I call my retirement plan. Hopefully, at one point they make enough money where I could just unload them. I'm slowly unloading them now to cover things, but yeah, this is what I was doing with my money then that I shouldn't have been doing.
Well, look at it as an investment. Maybe you should have bought real estate. Instead, you bought figurines. Who's to say how it turns out?
Exactly. I blame my mom for this, for telling me when you make your own money, you can do with it whatever you want to.
Mom didn't give you any caveat. She didn't say, do whatever you want with your money except buy a bunch of figurines,
Pretty
basically.
much.
Okay. So, because this is a podcast about the current non scripted world that we are living in or living outside of, as it were, let's get into a little background. I used to work with you in the old Hell's Kitchen days mostly. We did some other shows for A. Smith, but Hell's Kitchen was like the main one. But let's kind of go back even further. And how did you get into the business in the first place?
Well, you may not know this. I was working at Build-A-Bear before I ever did my very first production job, and I had a friend who was a friend of my cousin, and I knew he did production, and I'm like, I want to get into this. Like, how do I get into what you're doing? And he was like, oh, I'll make a phone call and we'll see what we can do. And he called an AD. This AD was like, I'll put him on set as an intern. My very first job was a 2-day birth control commercial on the Universal backlot as a PA. I went in completely oblivious and told all the PAs as soon as I got there, I'm like, I'm letting you guys know right now, I'm going to be asking questions. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never been on set. I don't know anything about film or shooting or anything like that. And it kind of I did those 2 days, and I think it was two 16-hour days, and was sore as all hell by the time it was over, and never wanted to do anything else again. And that was my first start, and I went from there. I think from there I did a bunch of videos and commercials. My first reality show was Amazing Race Family Edition, where they drove across the United States.
Oh,
And
I don't remember that one. Tell me about that.
I was driving art department. I jumped on in Arizona, and I did the Arizona through the Wyoming leg. I think, oh no, Montana. I took them all the way up to Montana, and then when everybody crossed over and went into Canada, I just drove vehicles back down to Arizona and flew home. But I was with the art department, so we would get in and we would set up all the clue boxes and checkpoints. And by the time the family was showing up into town, we were already driving to the next one to start building more clue boxes and checkpoints for everybody.
Wow. Boy, those are the days, huh?
Oh,
Um, remember how
that
much you
was
were
good.
making?
Oh, I think I was making 150 maybe, which was crazy to me because in videos and commercials they were paying 200 a day for PAs. But at the same time, as somebody who grew up in South Central LA who had never really traveled like that, and I'm being told I'm going to be paid to drive people around from state to state and see different monuments I had never seen before, I took the opportunity immediately.
Well, from there, so you were in, that was your first reality foray, I guess. When did you get in? When did you get in the door at Hell's Kitchen?
So from Hell's Kitchen, I mean from Amazing Race, I rolled it over into Hell's Kitchen. I had been doing videos with Jimmy Chris, and Mike Hammond was the one who I knew who got me into the industry anyway. So he got me on the Hell's Kitchen, and from over there, I would always hang out with the ads and stuff like that. And I liked seeing what camera was doing. And I'll never forget the night that I made the decision that I wanted to do camera, and we were shooting elimination, and one of the contestants bum rushed Gordon. And that was the night I was like, I want to be here every night. I want to be in the middle of the action. I want to see this happen. I don't want to be on lockup. I don't want to be in the bullpen. I want to be on the floor when things like this hit the fan because it was amazing. I remember sitting there as a PA, and Pete, who was one of the second ads, he was like, "Just do a lockup here. You'll be able to see the whole floor." And as soon as that dude rushed Gordon, I was like, that's it. I'm going to the camera. And I started bothering all the ACs and the different operators. And you guys thankfully vouched for me, and they brought me up into the camera department at Hell's Kitchen.
What season did you start?
I started as a PA on season 2, and then I skipped season 3. I came back for 4, and I want to say it was around 6 or 7 is when I started ACing.
Okay. Kind of coincides. I did season one actually, but I didn't get called back for season two. And then I wasn't back on again until season seven. And I was day playing. I was working nights at that point. So you were probably starting as an AC about the same time that I was coming back to Hell's Kitchen. And then eventually I transitioned into mornings. There was a opening on the camera shift, which I preferred because I'm an early riser. Always have been. Nights are always kind of a bitch for me. So
See,
but so we didn't work together a lot, you and I. But I could always, we were in each other's orbit, and you are, like I say, a big personality, and that's a compliment. I want to make
thank
sure you
you.
know
Thank
that
you.
it's not a backhanded compliment; it's an actual compliment. But I've always thought of you as a guy who worked his ass off, knew what his job was, supported the people who needed it, but also was willing to speak up if something wasn't right.
Yeah, and I would say a lot of times that speaking up kind of bit me in the ass, but at the same time, it's like if nobody says it, it's never going to get said, and things are going to continue this way. So I guess I'm going to take this bullet for everybody right now.
Was there anything in particular that you took the bullet on that you remember?
Nothing. It's just a lot of times if you say something, even if it's how people feel, they're not. They'll be like, yeah, we all feel that, but we know how to keep it in. And I've learned to better regulate. Not everything that goes in your head needs to be said out loud, I guess you could say. And I've gotten a little bit better at that over the years. But it used to just be like, oh, it's here, and it was no filter from here to here. It was just here and out. And then by the time it got out, it was like, you can't put that back in. It's out there now.
That's one of the hard lessons of adulthood, I think. When some people can get away with it, they can say exactly what's on their mind and somehow they can get away with it. But most people, I think, there's some repercussions for that. But nonetheless, I think that you always spoke up. You always supported your people, your camera people, and I don't see anything wrong with that. And you're also supporting yourself. You're taking care of yourself, saying what needs to be said, maybe something that you were doing for yourself, but you were also doing for other people.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Is like I think it was Eric Shiner who was like, I don't know how to say this to you. He's like, I don't mean it in a bad way. He's like, some people see you as brash. He's like, I love your brashness, but some people just see you as brash. And I was like, I understand that. I agree.
That's the beauty of television, though. I mean, it's a big tent, and you have room for all sorts of personalities. And I mean, it's the entertainment business. So big personalities kind of belong in that, under that tent. So I didn't have a problem with it, So I thought it was great, and I always look forward to seeing you. And you always had a great attitude. And, like I say, I don't have any issues. You can be as big as you want to be, as far as I'm concerned.
I used to love when our ships would pass in the night because, like you said, you were on the day crew and we were on the nights. But sometimes we would do punishments together where you'd be ending your shift and we'd be starting our ships,
Yeah.
and those would be some of the funniest times on set. It's just like, all right, let's go shoot these guys doing whatever it is they're gonna do. We're gonna be locked in for the next few hours. We might as well have fun with it.
Oh, hours of that stuff. Remember that stuff? Both you always wanted to get the rewards because it back in the day they used to go to like some exotic place, or they'd go on a boat, or they'd go to Big Bear or something, and it would always be, this beautiful kind of background or whatever setting. And then punishment was usually in the kitchen, and it was the dregs, and it was for hours and hours and hours.
And that was before they figured out the 1 day episode. And it was like, oh, we're just doing a 1 day episode. So no matter what side of the coin you got, you're going to be there for not that long.
Do you remember when they changed over to 1 day episodes? I mean, they used to do them back in the day. Everything was a 2 day episode, and occasionally they would do a 1 day episode. That was the exception. And then at some point, the exception became the rule, and all the days became 1 day episodes.
Yeah, I feel they started doing that maybe around season 13 or 14 is when it all started changing. Because it would be, you started noticing way more work went into, or you got way less days from when you used to get more. Like, you're like, oh, you got Hell's Kitchen coming up. We're shooting 2 seasons back to back. That's at least 3 months, three and a
Yeah.
half easily. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're shooting 2 seasons back to back, 2 months. You guys are getting in, we're getting out, and we're done. It's just like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. It might have coincided when the show flipped Union,
And I think it might have coincided with that also, because they were
when they
just like,
realized that they had to pay out a lot, for all those 2 day episodes, those back to back seasons that would go 3.5 months. I think they figured out, we can do this quicker. It'll probably make Gordon happy, which of course is the main thing, and I have absolutely no problem with that. When you have somebody the magnitude of Gordon Ramsay, your job is to make him happy,
yeah,
because he's going to deliver amazing television for you if you do that. So, but I'm sure a secondary concern was maybe we need to cut the schedule back and not pay out so much to the unions.
I feel it was around the same time when they started. Remember when they used to put the wall down the middle of the restaurant for the finale, and it was
Oh,
like we had
yeah.
two, and then they realized we don't need to put the wall up. We're not changing the design of any side, and then everything started falling in line. It was like no wall in the restaurant, 1 day episodes. We're gonna knock these out.
They cut back too on the amount of crew. Obviously, that's always maybe the first thing that happens is on these shows when they start cutting budget is they'll start cutting back on crew.
Yeah, it's weird. Like to say that I miss the post COVID era, I know sounds ghoulish, but we were all working, and because of the COVID regulations, there were so many people working at the same time that I sometimes wish COVID or something like that would come back.
You know, you bring up a valid point that I don't think a lot of people talk about because they do talk about COVID and how COVID obviously shut everything down for like months. But once we got back into production, it was they realized, I think, with people having to sit home for months and watch television that they need content. You know, it's like they realized, and they ran through all their content because they weren't making any new content, so they had to go into the vault, pull that out, and it was like, okay, we better double up on this now. So yeah, everybody was working after COVID. We were all masked and, you know, doing all of the dealing with the restrictions of working on a set during COVID, but we were working, you're right, a lot. And a lot of people were working because of it.
Yeah, it was like shows were having 30 plus operators. Each operator had to have their own AC. It was like, oh, okay, like I understand the world is going through something right now, but all my friends and family are eating, so I feel pretty good about this.
So obviously, HK Hell Kitchen, that was a big one that we both did. What were some other shows, bigger shows, like that had a run that you used to work on other than HK?
Dance Moms, I did many seasons of that one. Great Christmas Light Fight, Bachelor, Bachelorette, F Boy
Mm.
Island. What were some of the other like bigger ones like that? I feel like those are probably the bigger names of the shows that I've done because I've always done like other shows here and there, but nothing that was ever on the scope. I feel of Hell's Kitchen. Like Hell's Kitchen was probably one of the biggest shows I did besides Bachelor and Bachelorette.
I mean, it's interesting you mentioned all those shows because those were really, I mean, great days. And we were probably, looking back at it, we were probably spoiled a bit, you know, that we could be on all these great shows. We could go from one show to the next show. And sometimes without no time off, even, you know, you would just get done with one, roll into a next one, and you would just roll like that. We would have these years, I think, where people were working like 10, maybe even 11 months, you know, ultimately. It was kind of crazy when you look back on it.
And that was the thing. I think we all got comfortable too because it was just like, oh, this is never gonna go away. And it was like you said. I remember those days I'd come home, drop off my suitcase, grab a different suitcase, and walk right back out the door. It was like, okay, winter clothes are staying here. Now we're going to the islands. Let me grab this one, drop this one, and I know personally I got very comfortable because it's just like, oh, this is the job that's never gonna end. It was like endless summer. I was constantly going from show to show, and when it all kind of came to a screeching halt, it was the first few months were a very big like shock to me.
What year are you referencing?
This would be April of 2023 is when things
2023.
really.
Okay, so we're past COVID now. We've kind of moved back into what we think is going to be, you know, so-called normal times where we're, you know, we're working again. The shows are here, you know, maybe shorter schedules, but we're still working. So tell me about that time and kind of what you were working on or what wasn't coming back or when you could sense that maybe things feel different or or specifically when did things feel different to you?
So it was April of 2023. I just come back from doing it was a Bachelor or Bachelorette. I can't even remember. Um, and then I came home and I was like, okay, maybe I'll be down for a little bit. Went bought a, went and did something I'd never done in my life before. Brett went and put money down on a brand new car. Was like, okay, cool. Don't worry, work's gonna come back. And then a couple months later, it's like, okay, Bachelor in Paradise is coming around. and I didn't get a call for that. It's like things are drying up a little bit. And then a couple more months pass, and I'm hitting people up. Hey, if you need anybody, I'm available. I'm here. I'm there. People are like, hey, I really don't have anything right now. So
Why? Can you tell me why you didn't get called back on Bachelor in Paradise? That's what
this
it
was
was.
Bachelor in Paradise.
Okay.
When I was told by production was they were going with less crews.
Mm,
That's what I was told anyway.
yeah.
Which I was like, okay, cool, whatever. It is what it is. I'll keep looking for something else.
Yeah. And
And
you
then
probably thought you'd be able to find something else. That was the thing.
and I was picking up like I day play here and there, couple things. Like I have friends who would be like, "Oh, we're gonna go do this convention. I need an AC. Got you." Um, Rich Tomlin had hit me up for a couple things. Like we were shooting a couple things over in the basement at RuPaul's studio for them. That was cool. And then it was to the point where I was even PAing on things. I still pick up PA days here and there because I'm just like 300 to 350 is better than nothing. So I'll go out there and I'll move a pop up tent and set up some director's chairs in a heartbeat and do that. But it was really around 2023 when things started going weird. And remember, that was the year of the strikes, also. Like, writers were on strike, actors were on strike. Like, things were
Yeah.
getting real weird around then. And it got to a point where I was doing deliveries for a friend. Actually, it's Allie, who does audio, Allie D's. Her boyfriend at the time, which is now her husband, owned a clothing company, and he would ask me to do deliveries for him. And I, without a hesitation, I'm like, yeah, I'll go pick up these shirts and drop them off for you. And that turned into me working for them at that company. And at the time, I was just like, I can't turn this down. Lord knows when production is going to be coming back. I'm just going to have to get a regular job for right now. And if things come back, I could pivot back out of this. But as of right now, I need to set myself up to be able to maintain, my life, paying bills and paying rent, and sitting around waiting for another show to call me was not going to make that happen.
Now you were making your union hours back in the day, right? So
Yes.
and you were making them consistently.
Yes.
When did you? I mean, I'm assuming you lost your health benefits, probably, right?
That was end of 2024 when I lost those. I did the extension. I did the healthcare hour extension through 600. Um, I did where they were letting us withdraw from our pension. I did that. Like everything they offered, I did all the way up to the point where I had to take the honorable withdrawal because I was just like, I can't pay dues for something that I'm not doing anymore. Like I get it. 600 is a business and they're there for us and everything, but I can't pay you guys $250 every 3 months for something that I'm not even doing.
I get it. I know there's a lot of stories now, and you'll catch them on social media where people will post that they're like 20 hours from getting their benefits, and does anybody have anything? I got to get this in 30 days or whatever. I mean, there's more and more of those stories.
I see those and I'm more shocked. I'm like, wait, you're only 20 hours away. I'm happy that, you're that close. And I wonder about I have friends who do this who have families. Like it's just me and a cat, bruh. So it's just like as long as I can make sure this little evil thing is fed, I'm good. But like I think about my people who have multiple children and a wife and like house payments and stuff like that and multiple medical bills. And it's just like how are people surviving right now? It's nuts.
I don't know. I mean, it's amazing. I would say that my income has been cut in half at least at this point, maybe more. And I'm one of the lucky ones. I do have at least one, maybe two jobs that have a little bit of run. So at least I'm working and I've managed to maintain my benefits, God willing. But I don't know how long in this current environment that's going to happen. And, you always wonder when the other shoe's going to drop. And the show you're working on, the one or two that are left, make the decision to go shoot in Portugal or Ireland or Australia. You know, I I lost a lot of shows that way. So you know,
It's weird. I know of some shows that will be I remember the whole thing that happened with Mr. Beast last year where they had a reality crew, then they got rid of the reality crew, then the reality crew came back, and it's like even those things would stress me out at this point. It's just like to know you have a job and then it's pulled away, and then all of a sudden you have it back, and it's just like, okay, well, I'm back. Well, how long am I going to have this job for?
the Mr. Beast thing is interesting because, they shot last year and provided a lot of people with work, and it was union, which, I mean, these days you certainly can't find fault with that. But I'm hearing rumors now that Mr. Beast may be trying to go non union for this next season. I'm not sure how they are able to square that circle, but I guess we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But that was the rumor that I was hearing.
I heard that same rumor, and I was wondering the same thing. I'm like, how can you go non-union when you've already set the precedent of doing the union season?
I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I guess we're going to find out. You wonder if money somehow can work its way out of the problem for them or the issue. I don't know if that's the case, but it seems like if you have enough money these days, and there's a very few who do, you can pretty much make the rules. And Mr. Beast has a lot of money, so
He
we'll see
he
if
does.
he can rewrite the rule book. I don't know.
Oh
So,
man.
yeah. Sorry, I don't. I'm not trying to make you depressed, man.
Oh no,
I'm
no,
just like,
you're not at all. It's just, but it's like it's going back to where we were very comfortable. Whereas when I got my first check from working at my regular job, and I was just like, it took me 2 weeks to make what after taxes what I would have made in 2 days on set. This is kind of like, whoa, this is a complete kind of culture shock, wake up call esque kind of thing. It's just like this is crazy.
well, let's talk about that. So, at what point did you kind of have to segue into, finding work that was outside of the industry?
I want to say it was probably about a year and a half. Not even a year and a half. Probably about a full year later, because I got the job at Overcast around June of 2024, and
Overcast is what?
that was the spot where I was mixing inks for t-shirts and everything.
Got it.
And it was one of those moments where unemployment had run out. I had run out of savings. Bills were piling up. Credit cards were pushed to the limit. And it was just like, all right, we have to find something. Uber Eats was not cutting it, which is the people who make money off of those apps. I give 100% props to, because I'd barely made in total $50
Yeah.
doing Uber Eats, and so it was just like I had hit a wall, and it was like, you know what, I can't rely on hoping the phone is going to ring or somebody's going to be like, yo, we got a 10-week show coming up. I have to do something now to make sure that I don't get evicted.
So, what are you up to now? I think we mentioned off camera. You had told me about the job, the ink job, but I don't think you're doing that anymore, right?
No, so as of last Monday, came in to work for 4 hours and then was told I was being let go because of lack of business.
Oh,
Mind you, I kind of saw the writing on the wall. The previous week, they told everybody they're getting their hours cut to 30 hours a week, to which I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to have to start looking for something immediately now, because 30 hours a week, even at that, what they were paying me was not going to be anywhere near close enough to feed myself. Got fired there on Monday, was told about a job fair on Tuesday by my cousin, went there on Wednesday, and Thursday I got called and told I'm going to be working with them making new dental mouthpieces, from sportswear to pieces that help you stop snoring at night.
well, I mean, the world needs that stuff. So, right?
I mean, it's something I've never done before. The same way with the ink mixing, I'm looking forward to it. One of the teams they supply is the Boston Celtics. You know, go Celtics. And
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You're a Celtics fan.
yeah, I'm
Like
the weirdo from LA who loves the
in
Celtics,
LA.
so I'll
Like
be that guy.
that's true. Actually, I think it's a good balance. I'm not a huge Laker fan myself. I don't think I can say that. I think people know that. I'm a boy from Wisconsin, so all of my teams are based in the hinterland.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that you repped the Celtics. I think that's cool. That's bravery right there.
Pissing off friends and family members every day.
Every friends and foes alike.
Oh, all
So
the time.
always. So let me ask you this. So you've got this new endeavor going on. Are you? Do you think that you're going to be getting any job calls as far as like for reality shows, anything like that?
I like to stay optimistic, I guess you could say, but the realist side of me says I think those days are kind of behind me, which saddens me very much so because um it's weird. Like my girlfriend does HR, so she's used to dealing with people at work and their problems and things. And she was telling me, it's like every job you look for, you're looking for jobs that you're gonna like what you do. But most people have jobs where they hate what you do. And she's like, "Nah, but I understand it because you're coming from something that you loved doing that just went away." And as much as I would love for my phone to ring one day and somebody's there is like, "Hey, we got a 2 month show coming up. Get back in the saddle. Let's go." I don't see it happening.
What do you think for you is the hardest thing about not working in reality or doing the shows that we used to do?
I it's kind of nuts, but I miss the people. Like we had so like the family, the camaraderie we had. Even though we had people who we butted heads with, at the end of the day, we're all family on set. And when you do shows, it's not really like a strict. You clock in at 8, you go to lunch at noon, you go home at 3. It was like we locked in, but it didn't feel like work. We'd shoot a couple things, you go away, you get a little crafty, you come back. And I miss the feeling of working without working, I guess you could say. I really miss the money, but that's like the sub part of it. But being like working without working was what I felt what we did all the time. It never felt like you were at work. Sometimes you were tired, but it didn't feel like work.
I think that's a pretty universal answer with the people I've talked to. I think everybody has specifics to their own situations, but it always comes back to the people is what I hear. Everybody says, "Oh, you can reach out to people, you can text them, you can call them, you can meet for lunch or meet for a drink or something, but there's nothing like that day to day and kind of going through the trenches." And as you know, it's like a hurry up and wait industry. So it's a lot of prep and sitting around, and then all of a sudden you're in it, and everybody has to be firing on all cylinders. And that was always the great thing is you could always count on everybody to sort of galvanize at that point. And that's how you make relationships when you're in the shit together. You kind of like, you find out who your friends are pretty quick.
Really quickly. Like it's something about I was telling my girlfriend about this. Going through one of the roughest shoots you could think of, but then getting to the end and closing all those cases and knowing you did it with a great group of people. And just thinking back, like, all right, yeah, there's some of those days suck. Yeah. But am I gonna look back at it and laugh? Of course I am.
Yeah, it's something that I miss, or I guess I didn't think about when I was doing it. You didn't think about so much about the people, but it's when it's taken away from you, you kind of feel the silence almost, and then you're like, this is different. So let me ask you this to wrap things up. I mean, tell me a little bit about your personal hopes for yourself, whether it's maybe working in the industry again or just kind of figuring out your way in the world.
Personally, I want to be happy. I want to be comfortable. I want to be able to know that things are taken care of without me having to scramble all the time. I guess you could say. I would love to be back on set, and I would love for all of us to be back working. And even like I said, not just for me, for everybody. And I know that sounds corny, but it's the truth, because there's so many good people I know right now who aren't working, who are in the same boat, that I wish that we were all just back to working. So whatever they have to do to bring work back to LA, even if it's just to bring work back to the States where we can all leave from LA to go do these shows, I would love for that to happen. But at the same time, if I find my footing in this world outside of reality, I'm gonna have to take that path. It's weird that like the indecisiveness, I guess you could say, of the gig business, where you didn't know when your next gig was coming. Having not having to worry about that isn't bad, but at the same time, trying to make money that was the equivalent of what we were doing when we were doing reality is like the other side of that coin, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's good money. There's no question about it. I wonder if going forward, if the shows do come back to Los Angeles, if the rates are going to start to bottom out a little bit, and of course, people will have to take those jobs because it's the difference between having a job or having no job, you know?
Yeah, it's a couple of production managers I know, and he was telling me, he goes, it's like just people turn their nose up at me when I call for 350 for an AC, and I'm just like, well, 350 for an AC is not really the going rate anywhere anymore. But at this point, I guarantee you call somebody, they're going to take that job in a heartbeat without even blinking.
You know it. So, well, listen, I am so glad I had a chance to catch up with you. You seem like you're doing good, all things considered.
I'm just keeping my head up. I'm trying to be optimistic. Like I said, I've had my dark days, but I also have to remind myself that there's there are people in the world going through worse things than I am right now.
I think that's a good attitude to have, Doc. You know, thanks so much for joining me on the pod today. I
Thank you for
appreciate it.
having me, Brett Smith. I miss you so much, brother. Like I said, like every time we got together on set, it was always a good time. Even when we did Funny Dance Show, and we had to walk out there with them stupid picket signs for
Oh,
half a
yeah.
day.
That's, oh my God, that's right. Oh, we did. Yeah, you were on that with me too. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the
Funny
funny,
Dan. I love that show, actually. That's one of those one offs, unfortunately, but boy, it was fun to work on. But, you know, I I hope we have some of these shows coming back. Maybe that's what'll happen. Maybe it'll be these small shows again. Who knows? But we'll hang in there until then. Are you? Let me one final question. Are you done with the industry, or if the
I
industry
am
called?
I am not. If you got a job, if you need a chubby, charming, beautiful, funny, delightful Dockery on your set, you call me. I will throw everything down. I will stop making mouthpieces. I will run to your set. I will make sure you got gummy bears in your pouch. I will make sure your bricks are hot. I'll make sure your media is good to go. Your lenses are clean. Call me now. Just call me now. I am available.
There he is. You heard him. Give this man a call. He is ready to go. Doc, thank you so much. Appreciate you joining me. As far as everybody else, this is B. Smith's Second Sticks, and we are speeding. Thanks again to Jon Dockery for joining us. If you happen to be listening, thanks so much, and please share the word and hit like and subscribe. B. Smith's Second Sticks is produced and edited by Brett Smith. Our music is Hit and Run by the Sluts with Nuts and is licensed under an Attribution 4.0 international license. See you soon.